Kendra falls in love with Psychiatrist. This lady made a 20-part series on her love relationship with her psychiatrist. To me, as a formerly practicing therapist who was in the mental health field for 20 years, this screams, I need help. I was noticing one feature of her story that is consistent with folks who struggle with borderline personality disorder. First, what is borderline? It is a diagnosis, a mental health diagnosis that sits right in between two different types of symptoms. One of them is neurosis, which is more emotionally related, and the other is psychosis, which is more cognitively related. Of course, I'm not assessing this woman. I don't know what her diagnosis is. One of the classic features of this diagnosis is idealization, meaning that when folks with borderline personality disorder meet somebody new, they put them on a pedestal. They think this is the best person they've ever met. This is the most perfect person they've ever met. This person doesn't have any flaws. This person is a person they've been waiting for their whole lives. There is a lot of stories that they write over this person that basically puts this person into not a human category, but a little bit like a god. It's almost like being rescued somebody that's magical and they never thought they could meet this kind of magic in a human being. Naturally, that cycle ends in a crash. And then the other side of that crash is this person is the worst thing that's ever happened. They're literally worse than trash. They betrayed me. They don't deserve me. Now I have to make them pay. Vengeance is the answer. What makes this a mental health issue is that oftentimes the thing that the person perceives to be a betrayal are things that actually aren't a betrayal, but because they are sitting in between psychosis and neurosis, they imagine things that happened. And once they've imagined that thing, it follows with the natural emotional cycle they will have about that thing. And because they have poor emotional regulation abilities, the response is extreme. This man that she's calling her psychiatrist, she's saying that she was meeting with them regularly to talk about her life. First of all, I know that after you meet with them the first time, they don't actually talk about your life anymore. The sole purpose of that meeting is for them to write you your prescription. It's not therapy, which tells me that this is somebody who is telling stories about things that are unfounded because it doesn't make sense. When you are struggling with a mental illness, you don't know that your reality is distorted. You think that because you're thinking it, that's what happened. But in reality, what you're thinking doesn't make sense and it didn't happen. And you're reacting from your imagination. But nobody can tell you that because you believe that what you believe is real. And that's what makes it a mental illness. It's okay to seek help. I think an intensive outpatient program that specializes in DBT will be highly effective